So it is getting into the late stages of BFDIA. With 14 eliminations, there are 8 characters left, and I'm going to be predicting on who I think is going to win BFDIA. I'm putting each character in a different tiers on what I think the likelihood of them winning actually is. I've done this in the past with Inanimate Sanity Invitational, which I did alright on, and my TPOT prediction is looking pretty horrible. But I'm deciding to do it again for BFDIA and seeing how wrong or how right I'm going to be. So I put all of them into tiers, and there are 4 tiers, and my tier 1 is my winner prediction. So in my tier 5, I have Needle, Pencil, and Pin. I honestly don't see a scenario for any of these characters winning. I see a more of a likelihood for Needle than Pin or Pencil, but Pin or Pencil are consistently in the bottom 2 for voting. They do get a lot of votes, and I don't think this episode helped Pin at all. Might have helped Pencil a little bit, but it definitely did not help Pin. And Needle's also been getting a lot more votes recently. She hasn't been in the bottom 2 yet, but I can see the hatred of Pin's character increasing on BFDIA. And what I mean by that is, I see a lot of community polls when people say who their least favorite BFDIA characters or who they voted for in BFDIA. Needle is always at least the most voted, or like the second or third most voted. And by the way, I'm going into this video prediction, and I have not looked at the votes for BFDIA 16, so I don't know who's leading in the votes. I'm just assuming it's Pencil or Pin. Or Needle. I'm assuming it's one of these 3. And also something I've noticed with Pin's character is kind of the opposite what's happening in TPOTs. TPOT, Pin is becoming more like bland, you could say, more soft and nice than Pin's actual character. But Pin in BFDIA is becoming a lot more rude and relentless. And I feel like that's driving viewers away. And you know, BFDI voters aren't the biggest fans of like somewhat mean characters. So I could see Pin's dislikes going up because of that, especially after last episode when she excluded all of her old teammates and only wanted to work with Coiny or Needle. And then Pencil's always been a polarizing character. It feels like every time Pencil's been up for elimination since BFDIA has come back, she's always been in the danger spot in the voting. And I just don't see a world where Pencil can win the game unless she gets immunity an insane amount and gets voted to win at the end, or wins like a challenge. But again, that is very, very unlikely. Out of all the characters, I would say Pencil probably is the least likely to win. I don't even know if she's going to get eliminated this episode, so that's why I think she has the least likelihood of winning BFDIA. I think if Pin survives this elimination, there is redemption, and I think if Needle also survives this elimination, there's always room for improvement for Needle's character. But with Pencil, I feel like her character is too polarizing and too controversial for her to win a season. My next tier of characters is just 2, and it is Book and Nickel. And these tiers are not placed off of placements on how I think they're going to place within the season. I think Book and Nickel can still go very far, but I just don't see them having the plot relevance for them to win a season. Nickel's always been kind of in that danger spot, but like not really. He never gets a bunch of likes, and I feel like Nickel just doesn't get that much screen time, and I feel like he's not important enough of a character to actually propel himself to win BFDIA. And I would say the same thing for Book. It feels like Book this whole season has been in the free smart shadows. I feel like she's been overshadowed by characters like Ruby and Pencil the whole time. But the reason why I have more faith in Book than Nickel is because I feel like if Pencil gets eliminated, or I could say when Pencil gets eliminated, Book is going to have a huger role in the season. And I feel like she can propel herself more and get more relevance and like try to keep the free smart thing going. Or maybe Needle too. If Needle gets eliminated, then Pencil will really only have Book left. I feel like Book is definitely going to get more screen time moving forward, but I just don't know if it's enough for her to win BFDIA. And the thing is with Nickel is he doesn't really have that many dynamics with characters this season, at least anymore. He's on his own a lot, and he kind of just relies on his own humor, and I feel like the viewers might get tired of that, and then they might just vote him off. I do think this was a really good episode for Nickel, and I feel like Nickel could easily make the final 5 or maybe even the final 4, but there are just other characters that I feel like are bigger and more popular that I just can't see him going farther than, or at least winning over. And another thing I have for Book is I think Book also might not have a very good chance of winning just because she's in TPOT, and I feel like a lot of the characters that are in TPOT and BFDIA have a less shot of winning compared to characters like Coiny or someone like that, just because they're already eliminated in TPOT and they're not getting like both seasons, so they're getting less content from a character like Coiny or Fries. Like say in a scenario someone's contemplating between voting out either Tennis Ball or Fries, they might want to keep Fries and vote out Tennis Ball instead, just because Tennis Ball is already competing in the Power of 2 while Fries is only competing in this one season. For my tier 2, I have Tennis Ball and Fries, and Fries also has been in the bottom 2 a lot and does get a lot of votes, but I feel like Fries' popularity is definitely skyrocketing, and I feel like it's a trajectory higher than Nickel's, and I feel like Fries is becoming more plot relevant and is creating more dynamics with characters. So that's why I believe Fries has a very good shot at winning BFDIA. I feel like a lot more of the viewers are starting to appreciate Fry's personality and comedic relief more, especially after BFDIA 16. I feel like that's a great episode, and I feel like Fry's has just been improving every single episode, and I feel like it reflects in the votes and his fans too. He's also really good in the challenges, probably being the best challenge competitor in BFDIA except for maybe Pencil, and I feel like Fry's could definitely win a lot more immunities to get him into a Final 3 or a Final 2 scenario, which I feel like right now he has the popularity to win a Final 2 or Final 3 scenario. And then next I have Tennis Ball. Tennis Ball hasn't really been at risk of being eliminated at all this season in BFDIA, and again, his popularity is pretty much stayed the same throughout the whole season, except it's slowly getting bigger and bigger. I feel like Tennis Ball is one of those characters that fans would love to see win just because he is an underdog character, and seeing how far he's come from BFDI. He just has a super likable personality, and the only reason why I wouldn't have him in tier 1 is because it feels like Tennis Ball is always up for elimination. And it kind of feels like the writers might be pushing for a Tennis Ball elimination soon. It might not seem like that, but I feel like when they put a character consistently up for elimination, I feel like it's kind of indicating they're not super eager to keep them in the show, like a character like Pencil or Fries who win immunities consistently. Also, Tennis Ball is still competing in the power of 2, which I feel like is a big indicator on if fans want to save him or not, and that's why I'm kind of scared of him being up in elimination so many times. But his popularity is still massive, and I feel like if he still continues on this trajectory, he also normally gets a bunch of likes too, which shows his popularity. And again, if he keeps on this trajectory of at least staying at where he is, I feel like there's a really good chance Tennis Ball can make it to the Final 3, and there's a very good chance of Tennis Ball winning. And last, it's pretty obvious, but it's Coiny, and I am not confident about saying this after last time because I picked Coiny as my winner to win the power of 2 like a year ago, and that clearly did not work out. But I'm confident that Coiny has the highest chances of winning BFDIA. Coiny's also been in eliminations a lot, but he's also been safe a good amount too, so it doesn't feel like the writers are trying to keep putting him in the elimination like they are with Tennis Ball. And Coiny isn't in the power of 2 anymore, so I feel like that's going to be a really big indicator that can save him over other characters, or maybe if it's in a vote to win scenario and Tennis Ball or someone else is still in the power of 2, they're going to vote for Coiny to win over them. And Coiny is just such a popular character. I'm still very shocked to get voted out of the power of 2. I feel like if there is a rejoin, I wouldn't be surprised if Coiny gets voted back, or at least gets a high number of votes to come back in the power of 2. But Coiny is just a super likable character, has dynamics with a bunch of different characters, is good in challenges to a certain extent too. And yeah, I think Coiny, if he makes the Final 3 or Final 2, at the trajectory he's at now, and if they don't write him into a meaner character or anything, or write his character worse, I feel like Coiny right now at the Final 8 as the BFDIA 16 has the best odds to win Season 2.